Hey, this is Alec.
And I'm Lisa.
And this is The Secrets Behind the Film. So this film is all about this story between a mother and a son, and both of them are growing up together and they have this amazing life. The son is there encouraging the mom through tough times, but then you find out later in the film that none of this is actually real and the son has never existed. The hooded figure throughout the film, the first time that a lot of people think that they see it is at the crosswalk. But that's actually not the first time you see it. You see it 2 times before that. What's really cool about the film as well, and another interesting secret, is there's no words throughout the film.
And yet
film,
I cried.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wanted to make a film that literally only has one word in it, mom. And so we decided to go right ahead and put in these little tiny things inside there to make sure that you knew that you're still following the kid. The kid is actually always wearing a certain color or a certain shade of blue.
Wow.
So
okay.
A lot of people, you probably didn't realize that. So then subconsciously, while you're watching the film,
there's congruency.
Yeah, because you never get the kid's name, she's never calling him by the name. So that was one thing that we knew that we had to do just to help in those
make
cues
it seamless.
to people. Yeah, for sure. So the Legos were a big part of this film, and it just happens to be that I happen to have those Legos
wait a minute.
right here.
That is from my house.
So, yes, that's right.
I thought you'd return those.
I raided your house. But what's interesting about these Legos, right before the film even starts, within the first 6 seconds, conflict right away. The kid's holding the conflict. So this knight
is a female.
Yeah. And that the knight is actually the mom, which we all know later in the film, the hooded creature is the mom. So really, as you can see, they're both clashing, and the people that are clashing here in the film is the mom towards herself.
I love the idea of a pregnant, unwed mother being a hero, that there is this choice that she can make, even if nobody else knows, to celebrate her choice to give life to a child. What will people say? What will people think? Well, at the end of the day, she's the one that is going to live with herself. And so I love that this film empowers women to make a choice that makes them a hero to keep alive.
What's crazy is this film was only written in about 15 minutes. It took about 15 minutes to write. I'd say it's actually a film that's been inside me for quite some time.
Wow.
And the reason why I'd say that is, you say, what's the inspiration? There's 2 different things, 2 main reasons. The first one was actually my little brother. He almost died in the womb. He had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. And one day it really hit me. It hit me that, if Arden wasn't around, how different my world would be, how that changed our total family dynamic, how that would change what I'm doing even today, how Arden's really influenced a lot of my life.
Wow.
Then I went out to coffee with this one woman. She had chosen not to have an abortion and have the child. She was talking about how much joy, how much purpose this kid had actually brought into her life. That really, she thought her life was kind of over whenever she was pregnant.
Yeah.
But then ever since she's had the kid, she feels like she's been moving actually so much further, and that she has so much more drive, and that she actually really has so much more purpose in her life. And I thought it was just so incredible. But then it kind of flipped, and it kind of hit me like, wait a minute, there's a lot of women that probably already know this, but are so upset with themselves for having an abortion. And there's probably a lot of women who feel that what they've done is like this unpardonable sin. And really, the film was kind of born out of that.
Alec, I remember when you first talked to me about this film, you had such a hope that it was going to actually encourage women who found themselves in a place where they were afraid and they felt isolated and pregnant. And you wanted them to know that there was life on the other side, that there was love on the other side. I know that was, there was many different directions. It was so important for you that it was redemptive to people that had had abortion, as well as understanding, God's forgiveness, and as well as people that found themselves, or a friend, in that place of trying to make a decision and wondering if a child was going to be an interruption or, as you say, an inspiration.
Yeah. The casting on this one was actually quite remarkable. I was just an acquaintance with Janine at the time, reached out to her, and I was like, hey, I have this film idea. And so I told her the film, and she just started crying. And I was wondering why. And it turns out that she was actually going to be aborted, that her parents decided at the last moment that she should not be aborted, and it was a very personal story for her. Even just on set, 2 other families that had also been kind of in similar dynamics.
So their parents had been advised to abort them.
One of the other really big secrets of this film was honestly prayer.
I mean, that.
We know that we're dealing with a subject that is very tender and very hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so we had this realization of how important it was to pray over this film, and the realization that not only lives would be saved from this, but lives would be born, that destinies would come out of this film, and that was definitely one of the greatest hopes of the film.
Wow, I love that.
The song choice was really important for this film. One of the lines that I really love in this song is, "I only want what's real. I set aside the highlight reel and leave my greatest failures on display, worthy of love anyways."
Wow.
So it's kind of like showing this guilt, showing kind of like this shame, because it's the
Well,
film's
there's shame attached with being an unwed mother.
yeah.
And you're inviting them to be courageous. You're saying, I want you to actually push aside the highlight reel and be real. I love that lyric, and it's really an invitation for women who find themselves with an unwanted pregnancy to understand that there's love. That child may be the very love you're looking for.
Yeah.
So be brave, be courageous. God has this incredible victory on the other side of redemption.
So if you're someone who's watched this film and you're afraid of people seeing your failures, of those failures being on display, we really just want to encourage you guys.
Yeah, there is nobody that hasn't failed. And there's something about happening that's when you're vulnerable, that's where you find the strength. We want to encourage you. You do have a choice. You can actually recover your voice in this situation. And Alec, I love that there's secrets behind this film, and then there is connection and community. We want you to come into the light, come into strength, and come into love.
Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to the secrets behind the film. If you missed any of those secrets, feel free to rewatch the film right here. Also, if you haven't yet checked out some of the bonus materials that come with this film, you can click right here to see interviews with people who have walked through abortion and their healing process afterward, or even people who have been in the same position and chosen life. As always, if you feel like this film would impact someone you know, feel free to share it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.